as big and wide as a house. Their roots penetrate the soil many meters deep. They grow abundantly without any impediment, so they can aspire to the blueprint they started off with. Just from the same seed, in a little pot, lovingly nurtured by human hands, branches bound every inch or two so that they twist and curve, lovingly put together, aesthetically pleasing, a bonsai. Beware. Do not be foxed, for your choices are made by your conscious mind. Rather, look to see at the subconscious part of your brain. Therein lies a secret. Let me take you to the golf course. You're on the green, all smooth, and it's a golf lesson. So there's this chap, really seasoned player, who's come on this lesson, and there is this other lady who's shuffling around, trying to get to grips with the game. The coach says, right, you're on the green now, competition. You have only one putt. You've had 4 on your score each. The hole is here. Player A is over there, just under a meter. You have a 50% chance of getting it in this hole. Player B, the female, you're over a meter, 80% chance. Right, off you go, just one putt. You've got 4 points. This is a par 5 hole, 5 points, only 5. Just one shot at it. And he says, no pressure there then. You can see those guys looking. So, player A looks at the hole, walks around, has a go, thinks about it again, and then goes, it is just overshot by 6 inches. Player B looks at the hole, it's in. What's the difference? Player B was me. Really, the only woman with a group of men, and one of them comes along to do the putting. It was because the secret lies in actually believing in mind, body, soul, whatever, connecting with the ball so that you are the ball. In that one moment of time is just what you focus on. Your subconscious calibrates. So therefore I say to you, trust in the subconscious, for there is the process of becoming. Your brain computes and calibrates, but what happens in the end is it all percolates and you can smell the coffee. Kauri tree or bonsai, you get to choose. Choices are the hinges of destiny. Mark them. So mark your destiny with process. Thank you.
Smiled all the way through that. Literally, from the first single word that you spoke, I smiled all the way through. I had tears in my eyes. It may sound really, really strange to some people, but I literally got so into your story. After your, what was it called? Evaluation last night, my feedback, and I hope you don't mind bringing me you were bringing this into the room. My feedback was that I kind of felt that you'd, I forgot the exact phrase, but kind of held back a little bit. Yeah. And tonight you didn't. And so you just let it rip. You just gave it absolutely everything. Loved it. The language, it's funny. Sue said, would you want to take a pen to write some things down? And I said, no. Because I was so captivated by what you were sharing and the way you were sharing it. I loved your examples. I can't remember the first tree, but whichever the first tree was, and then the bonsai tree, I thought it was absolutely a masterclass. And I thought it was a whole different league. It was a different person than last night. Last night, you, with all respect, you were average and you weren't the real you. This was the real you, and this is what I'd like to see more of. I loved it. Do I have any recommendations? Honestly, there's none coming to mind, so I'm not going to try and kind of fabricate one. I love the way you finished, I love the way you started, I love the A player, B player. I thought it was brilliant. I hope that's helpful. Has anyone else got any? Can I start with Stella?
Yeah, sorry, I arrived late, but the bit that I saw, wow, it was another thing. First, you are amazing, and I wrote it in capitals with a underline. Storyteller. Like, you're amazing, I can really see what you show. And actually, what I was thinking is what Tony already said, you own it. This time you own it. Like, difference in your voice, it was very strong. You were there, you were like, this is my space. You know what I mean? Because last time, it sounded like this sweet voice that we put when I want to maybe complace, you know? When you want to complace people, but it's not, you are holding back. So I really love what I saw. You have an amazing, I love as well the way that you stopped when you were doing the moments when you were doing the pots. That's something that, in my case, I would have gone crazy, rushing, you know? But you actually managed it very well. You took enough time to show what you wanted, not too much for it to be, not too much, not too little. Just took the proper time that needed to be taken for us to see what you wanted to show us, and I think it worked beautifully. So well done.
Thank you.
Can I just add one thing before I forget? And I loved the... It said so much. Anyone else? Sue?
Yeah, the language was just lovely. And I recognised when I was writing this down, I don't actually know how to spell eloquence, but eloquence is what I found. I mean, some of the phrases, and I wrote them down because I just loved them, was do not be foxed. So, just don't be foxed, but do not be foxed. And you'll subconsciously calibrate. And I thought, that just is. He kind of calibrates things unconsciously and to be able to make that happen. So, the language was just great. And the fact that you took us through that story and you took us very clearly imagery, the imagery you were using, so you could see it. You used a lot of space really effectively, so I think that went really well. In terms of a recommendation, I don't have one that comes to mind, so my apologies for
Thank you.
more of the same.
Who else would like to?
Should I add something?
Yes, please.
Should I go? I think it was great. It was beautiful. I wrote a couple of things. The words were really, really powerful. Like I was trying to write. I don't know if someone noticed, but my pen was not working, so I was trying to find another one to be able to write like the beautiful words to try to include them. And then I wrote body language. It was amazing, like moving from one side to the other. And you say, let me take you to the golf course. And you literally help us paint that picture with your movements there, with the green grass, everything. And then the sound. That's like it's beyond everything, right? Not just body language, but sound effects. So it was great.
Is there anyone else?
Yes, please.
Yeah, Mona, I think you always use your language very well. That's what Sue mentions. Quite nice words, nice vocabulary, and it's nice to hear that because sometimes I don't know, for example, the vocabulary, but it makes me understand what you mean. So that's one thing, and you use the stage very well. You moved from left to the right, Then you played a little bit of golf, and I really liked it. Yeah, very good speech. One thing just to add, I think that you just, your hands, you just started like that for first maybe 10 seconds only, then you open up, only that. So great speech, I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Yes, please. Say, beware, don't be forced. Your choices are made by your subconscious mind. Trust in the conscious, for these are the process of becoming. Choices are the inches of destiny. I don't know how you do it, but whatever you're doing...
I did say who said it, that was a quote, the last one. I didn't actually say the quote because I thought it's going to go correct. So I will just say Marco, which is what I did. I said the name of the person.
You did, yeah, the last
okay.
one you did.
Yeah, sorry.
I don't know how you do it, but whatever comes out of your mouth is poetic. It is just brilliant. If you can borrow me your head, I'll use it. For sure, you just, you sing when you're there. Two speeches this evening has actually made me more emotional than I thought I should be kind of excited, elated. That was Zio's speech and yours. You actually reveal me to me. Things I don't know and things I should start doing. Helping people as well as go back to my poetic life. I used to be that. But you mean you are just everything I hope to be when I go to speak. Oh, you are too good. Sorry, too good. You. Please. And like I said about Alistair's evaluation is that more often than not, we don't know how many people are going to benefit from us. Because we don't say enough. We don't speak out there. This you have spoken to about these few persons in this room. It shouldn't end here. You've got a message. You've got a voice. Lives will be changed, for sure, by listening to you.
That was what I was saying was my purpose, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I sent you an email to say, I'll tell you why I don't, I'll tell you why in one of my speeches, so this was it, because I didn't start in the beginning by saying, you said, you know, when you said about the goals that you were talking about, and I said, oh, you know, at some time use that in a speech to explain for why I was not going to have goals.
So it was just brilliant. I mean, brilliant. Recommendation, should I? Yes, I will. Do it again.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you.
I just have a couple of things. Excellent. I mean, sort of the use of examples was great. You actually used vocal variety, which is a later project. So you actually changed your pace, you changed your inflection, your voice, everything. The only thing I would say is I got a bit confused between player A and player B. You start off calling them male and female, and then you swap to player A and player B.
Yeah,
Just be careful about that.
Yeah.
But again, moving around the stage, your stage presence, you had me captivated. Brilliant.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Can I just give one single recommendation? This recommendation literally just come to mind. I think it was as Tony was speaking. I forgot the phrase, but you know when you said you can either be a such and such tree or a bonsai, you decide. That for me, I thought that was the end of the speech. I thought it was a wonderful ending. And then I was kind of focused on that, living there, and then you went on, and I kind of missed the last little bit, which I'm not saying wasn't impactful and whatever else powerful, but that for me.
I saw that yellow thing, and I probably
but it felt like, man, it felt like that was the kind of big, you know, the big, I don't know what the word is, kind of conclusion, summary point, you know, that I was taking home. But then you kind of went into something else. And I personally, having had time to kind of think about it, thought that would have been the perfect place to finish. But that's just my personal take.
Yeah.
But I thought the whole thing, Tony mentioned something about, you know, about like, it's like your voice is singing. It sounded musical. It sounded poetic. It sounded wonderful, honestly. Brilliant, brilliant speech. And a whole different person than last night. So thank you for sharing that with us. I learned a lot there, really. Thank you.
And Sue. Please, before Sue, would you mind giving us your title, the speech title?
Yes, I think I called it processed processed coffee or something like that. Hang on, processed percolation. I don't know if I
Okay.
used percolate in the
Process speculation. Thank you very much.
addition.
Good evening. So today, this evening, I want to talk about the question why. So I'm going to talk a little about the question why and why we use why, and maybe, possibly, some of the times when why is not the question to ask. So we ask ourselves questions all the time. Why didn't I plan? Why haven't I done my speech? Why haven't I written my book today? Why have I not done what I'm supposed to do? Why have I not done these things? Your children, for those of you who have children that are old enough to be able to do that, why is the sun that far away? Why is it yellow? Why have I got legs? Why am I going to do this? Why all the time? So why is a really great question a lot of the time. So there are times when I think it's a really good question to ask. One of the things when you work with people a lot, when you work with people or businesses or organisations and people often will ask the question of themselves, why is my business not doing particularly well? Or why is it that I'm not achieving the things that I want to do? Why is it that I'm not getting the kind of work that I want? Why is it I didn't get that contract? Consequently, asking lots of questions. And when you're in a situation to be able to ask that, there are lots of different behavioural therapies out there. But there's a particular therapy out there, a particular tool or resource you can use that talks about two states, a desired state and a present state. So you can be in a present state. The present state is the person who doesn't know what it is they want. They don't want to be where they are. Why am I not able to keep fit? Why am I not doing what I want to do? Why is it that this isn't happening for me? And a desired state, that's where I want to be. That's where I want to get to. That's what I want to make happen. So in doing so in hearing that, in spending time and taking a step back and looking at why it is that you are in a present state and how you want to get to a desired state, I'd like to offer a particular technique that I find works really well, or a particular opportunity to take some time out. And that's actually understanding what happens when you ask the question why. So if I look at a time, and I have over here the past, and it can be as far away as lunchtime, or it can be even further, it can be Christmas. And if I go to the other end and I look at bedtime, or even further than that out into the future, and I take here as the now, and I say to someone, like for example, a really good question I think that is often asked in a work situation is, why were you late? Why were you late for work today? So what happens when asked that question? So why was I late? So what I'll do is I'll go into the past, I'll have a look. Why was I late? What's the alarm? I was late. And that's it. So what we've done is just described something that gives me what is now. Excuse me. So I've got a really good explanation of how I got to where I am. I am at a situation of having been late. Another circumstance might be, why did I not do what I suggested I was going to do? Why did I not plan my day? And again, I'll go back into the past. It can be any time. It can be yesterday evening. Why did I not plan what I wanted to do? And there can be any number of reasons. Something got in the way, something happened, I got busy, I forgot. That's what's given me the now. Really great question to identify how I am in this particular circumstance. What that doesn't do, of course, is give me any indication of what I want in the future. It does nothing about taking me up here. This is nowhere. There is no horizon over here from my now. So I suggest that what the question is what? So when I'm standing here, rather than asking myself, why didn't I do that? It will be, this is where I'm at. What do I want to do? Where do I want to be? What will make the difference? How am I going to go about doing that? So rather than standing here and if you like, using the why question to just find out about now, recognise it, but that's now. And that out here is all kinds of opportunities by asking those other questions. What am I going to do tomorrow? Tomorrow I'm going to write my plan. I've got a plan tomorrow. What am I going to do tomorrow? I'm going to start thinking of those ideas. Tomorrow I'm going to recognise that actually I'm going to take some of those wires off. I'm not going to be a one-time tree. I don't need to do that. So yeah, this is what I'm going to do. So instead of sitting here with the why, it's a what or a how. Thank you very much.
Yeah, yes, please.
Okay, so the first thing I really loved about your speech is you used the stage as a timeline. Anyone else notice that?
Yes.
Yeah.
The past was over here, you had the present right here, and the future was way over there. I mean, I really like that. Haven't seen that done before. You told us what you were going to talk about, the question why. Gave us a whole bunch of examples of why, people asking the question why, and you changed it into what at the end. It was another way of leaving the audience with something to do themselves. So I really love that as well. Again, you look really relaxed up here actually. It was a very conversational type of delivery. I really like that. And could I get feedback from other people as well? Okay.
Very good topic. Really enjoyed that. Really like the transition, and that was very clearly said from why to what. That was so easy to understand and all makes sense. And that was the conclusion for all that speech as well. So well done for that. And also, definitely I've seen that you've been confident, and you referred to 3 people who spoke today, Tony, myself and Mona. So well done for that, because being there, on spot and referring to something which just happened, you couldn't prepare that yesterday. So yeah, good for that.
Thank you.
Stella.
I really like the fact that you gave suggestions, and that's something that you usually do. So, as told you before, I don't like when you just tell me I have a problem. I like when you tell me I have a problem and, okay, how do I fix it? So that's very good. I like the fact that you supported your message with a lot of body language and the use of the stage. The only thing is that I will be careful with the volume at the end of the sentences, because sometimes I wasn't sure if it was the volume or the pronunciation. I think it was that you went down at the end, but sometimes I really wanted to keep listening to you, and it lost it. It's like the end it went down, and then you attached the next sentence with the last sentence, so I couldn't keep up with it, which I wanted to do.
Anybody else?
Yes. I, like Alistair, I thought it was brilliant the way you used the timeline, and also what the value was, or not, as the case may be, of going into the past, and then reframing it so that you were going forwards, and that sort of there's no horizon here. I thought that really kind of stood out and put the message across. And it was lovely to find someone else saying, well, actually, from the moment, move on, and it's more than the one. So, great there. Thank you.
I must confess, you're way more confident than you were last time. It really showed that, something is changing. You've got a message, well structured, good transition, and as well as descriptive picture messages. And that was awesome. From beginning to the end, I think I just was into what you were saying, and the way you started from the why analogy to the descriptive natures of you walking from here to here and using the stage, the past, the now, and the future, spot on, and as well as to the end. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I would like to offer my congratulations, Sue, because that was brilliantly done. As you said, the stagecraft, excellent, really, really good. The only thing I could offer you as a recommendation is that when I looked over, I saw you were looking over towards Mona. You were sort of looking up, you were looking down, you weren't looking at the audience so much. I know that will come with a bit more relaxation and a bit of time, but if you can look more into the audience, engage them more, that would be great. Fantastic. But a really good speech. Thank you.
Thank you.
If I can just add one thing, if that's okay. I love the content, I love the structure, I love the fact that when you throw out a drag, you can and you just grab your glass at the end of a sip of water. I love the timeline, I love all of it, really, really enjoyed it. You look very natural, very flowing and very relaxed, you know, physically and with your voice. If I can give one recommendation at the start, and I don't know why, you had one hand here, and you had this arm literally behind your back for the first maybe 10, 15, 20 seconds. And then you became a two-armed person again, and I would have liked to have seen, whatever they were doing, some kind of symmetry or some more natural movement than that. But
Okay.
apart from that, that was fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great speech, Sue.
Here she goes.
You're welcome. Well, good evening, everyone. My speech is called Obsession, a great tool to achieve your goals. Well, basically, I was thinking, sorry, before I start my speech, can I say something? Because it's not going to leave my mind until I say it. Now you say yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, thank you. I'm amazed today, this being a magic night for me. And the reason being is because I decided that I was going to do a commitment today in my speech. And that's what you did. That's what Kay did. And I decided I was going to be vulnerable and honest. And that's what Xiomara did. And then for a moment I thought I was going to speak about focus. And then I went to the toilet, and at the moment I was coming back to the room, Mona was speaking about, she did the pop, and then she said, you need to focus. I'm like, this is so surreal. And then I was thinking, well, I'm going to do this, whatever it comes. Like, I remember my husband told me today, you know what? Don't go, doesn't matter, just don't do one. I said, no, because this will make me stronger. And then Alex came with his anti-fragile story. I'm like, and then like these eggs are cheap happening, like, wow, we are so connected. I was like, oh yes, the 10 ideas. I'm going to actually do the 10 ideas because I need to plan my day tomorrow. And then Kate was like, yes, because if you don't plan, you play the like, alright. And I said, well, why is all this happening? Like, this is so ridiculous. And I'm thinking literally, why is all this happening? And then you start with, why? And all the speeches today have been about self-development. So obviously maybe it's just my universe, but we all became, to a point at least, that to me is very obvious today, that we are ridiculously connected. In a point like we kind of think alike. Well, in a moment I thought I was having the same speech on Tony, so I would really say thank you for that and for bringing me the opportunity to have magic wicked moments where I'm thinking that I'm part of the X documents thing. Okay, maybe I should start my speech now. Good. Yes, obsession. A great tool to achieve your goals. I started thinking about the past and about what I used to do. I used to be very happy with myself and with my life. Even when things were going wrong, I always felt confident I could make them right. I went through a lot of stuff in my life. I was bullied in school for 3 years. And at that point I decided, you know what, I'm going to be successful, I'm going to be beautiful, I'm going to show everyone that that I can make it, that what you say, you can put your... And I started being a bit I'm sorry, I'm not going to put this anywhere because I'm going to use adult language. So you can put your tongue in. Kind of thing. So that's what I used to think. So I became obsessed, like completely and crazy, utterly obsessed with being better, with achieving my potential to get success. But not success in the way of being better than other people, because that wasn't what I was into. It was about being better than myself, about becoming stronger for what happened to me, about learning. And then the last couple of years when I arrived here and then I connected again with you, Samara, everything seemed to have changed. I felt lost. I didn't understand what was happening to me, what was the point of me being there or here. I didn't find my place. So I have the same dreams that I had before, but I don't have the drive, you know? Before it's like, it doesn't matter if a train comes against me, I will just run in front of it and I will crash it. Now I'm like, I better be careful. And I think it's because I lost that obsession, and I need to find it again. So today I want to invite you to be obsessed. And the reason is because many people see obsession as something bad. You heard this syndrome of being obsessive compulsive obsessive, anything like that. But then you don't realize that the 1%, the 2%, the 5% of the people that are in the top, they are obsessed. Because if you are normal, if you have a normal thinking about that, what are you? Just normal. You're mediocre. Like, how can you come anything higher than that? Another, that people don't realize that obsession is something that we do every day. We are obsessed about anything and everything. We just don't call it that way. How many people here is obsessed with television, with gaming, with social media, with the phone, with children? Have you seen when a woman has a child? Everything is about children. Or when you get a pet, everything is about dogs. So we are obsessed all the time. The thing is about what we focus our obsession on. Is it an obsession that will help you grow? Or is it an obsession that will put you down? So, and with the obsession, to make it really powerful, what you need to do is to get massive action. So everything that you do, you need to 10x it. So if you think you need to make 100 calls, you make 1,000. Because maybe you think that 10% of that people is going to buy you, and you think, well, I just need 10 sales. But you haven't thinking that maybe they won't pick the phone. The phone will be disconnected. They won't want to listen to you. You know, there are an amount of variables that we don't take into account when we plan for our goals. And that's why you need to 10x. But then it's not just only 10x the action. You need to 10x the goal. And it's again because that is the saying that says if you shoot to the moon, you can reach to the stars. And it's because if you try to have $1 million, you might become short because you didn't think in everything that could happen. Because we have this positive thinking, which is great. It takes us out of bed every morning, but it doesn't really allow us to plan very well. So if you plan to get 10 million and you take action to get to 10 millions, you might get to 1 million much easier. Or you might get a bit more, and at the end of the day, that's what you want to achieve. So to achieve your goals, and in my case, to feel fulfilled and happy, I just would like you to invite you to become obsessed with your goals and to take massive action. And on the same commitment direction, I want to commit today that I'm going to become obsessed with 2 of my goals, at least for the next 3 months. And one of them is health and body, and the other one is speaker. So hopefully in 3 months you will see a massive improvement with my massive action taken. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, wow, this is how it is from here. I love group speech. I love people speaking from here most of the time when you really connected with here. And I think that is what I think you did. More often than not, we try to push through our fear and kind of, should I or I shouldn't? Should I or I shouldn't? And at the end of the day, when you do, you kind of feel good more about yourself, I think, as I think you feel now. How did the speech go? Very good. What happened with the opening? And it was a good thing you did before you opened. You just went away from the speech entirely and talked about how you got here, what happened, what you had to push through to get here, and everything that happened in this hall this evening connected with you and actually made you stronger to come speak this evening, which was brilliant. Your opening, you talked about everything that has to do with obsession, the way you started from grass, being bullied, struggled, you lost the drive, and you went to your body. When you talked about as well, when you came here in this country, you lost everything, how you wouldn't get in front of the train, but before you will, without even thinking, because you were driven. And at the end of the day, you went into being obsessed about that which you desire, which I think it was a message to me sitting there. I should be obsessed about something I love. I mean, Christ was obsessed about the faith. I was talking about Christianity today. Muhammad was obsessed about Islamism. We're still doing that today. So I think obsession has a place in our life, and it is nothing negative. But whatever it is good is worth doing, and that I think it was a message I got from there today. And as well as the conclusion, you gave yourself a target by saying to us all, watch me 3 months from now. Wow. That was a bold statement to make. So congratulations, Stella, and I think you did way better than you imagined you should. Well done. Any feedback, please? Let's start from the back. Okay.
Stella, very good speech. And thank you for being so open. It always actually, warms out the audience when you actually open up and, tell a little bit more about yourself. As someone else said before, you were for a moment, vulnerable, and because you trust us, it's nice group. So, and a lot of good words comes from your mouth, and previously as well, previous speeches as well, like connections with other, being better than myself, not that the other, grow, learn, people, obsession in a nice way, focus. I think you are a very good person deep down, and you should be on the stage because you've got lots of good things to say. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I also joining with that. I thought that you managed feeling incredibly emotional up there. You managed that in the same ways as Samara did earlier, and trusting us to be able to go with you on that. And that's a great thing to have from that speech. So I really loved that. It was a difficult place to go. There have been, everybody today has done stuff about self-development. It would have been a difficult kind of act, and you nailed it. You nailed it really well. There are two things I want to offer as a recommendation before I do. You took back obsessed and made it into a word we can use, as opposed to it to being a bad thing. So you give it as obsessed as a word that we can actually own and say is a good thing, focus on. 2 things. One is you said that you would, hopefully, in 3 months' time, you would be up there. There's nothing, you don't need to be hopeful about it. You will be, so you don't remove the hopeful. You will be up there. And the other one is you breathe a lot from up here. And if you breathe from down here, you'll be able to say, you'll be able to get the sentences out better. Amazing.
Okay. Who's next? Okay. Zia.
Well, I'm going to read what I wrote. I wrote beautiful, open and vulnerable, and there was one moment when your voice was like shaking a little bit, you were really emotional, and I was like shaking, trying to write, like that connection is really powerful, and I think it's beyond the words, it's just, I don't know, I also wrote a lot of eye contact and smiles, so even though that you were really vulnerable and honest, it was like a positive on it. I felt that something really good was coming in that message, not feeling like, oh, she's just saying something about being obsessed. It was like, yeah, do it, be obsessed about it, because if not, you are going to be average. So it was powerful in the words, but also in the emotions. So I think it was just beautiful.
Yes, Mama.
Yes, I was going to say that the vulnerability, you described the earlier time not being bullied, you then went on and you felt, as you were describing about when you came here and taking us with what had happened to you, we felt that emotion and were sharing that, holding the space with you. And I thought that was very powerful. And then you then went on to tell us what you were sort of, or how we should be addressing choices that we're making. And you then went on to say what you were going to do at the end. And I thought you really started it off somewhere and closed off somewhere as well, with, again, starting from yourself and how you were going to exercise those choices. Thank you. Quite brave.
Yeah, any other person?
Please, yeah. I may be unpopular for saying this, but I thought when you originally said, can I stop this and start again and whatever, and interrupted yourself with a speech, I thought you made a mistake. I thought, oh my God, she's going to melt, she's got it wrong. And I sat there and I was humbled for the rest of the, however long it was, because it was the first speech that wasn't a speech, the pre-speech was absolutely, it was like we were physically present watching you shed, if that makes sense. You were just, everyone's used similar words, you were vulnerable, and you looked emotional. I felt emotional, I was with you, completely with you, honestly. So I got it wrong. I thought you'd got it wrong. I think you got it absolutely perfect. You listened to yourself, you listened to your wisdom, and you followed that, and you followed it completely and absolutely unapologetically. And I think it was brilliant. That was the pre-speech speech. I thought the speech you gave was fantastic. No recommendations. I can't think of anything that I would think this would have been better or that would have been better. And I just want to say a massive, massive thank you, certainly from me, and I would imagine from the rest of the group, for trusting us enough to share in that way, but in both speeches. I thought it was fantastic, so thank you.
I can experience a very strong bond going around this room. Since on the very first time we started, I think we're becoming more open-minded and sharing. This as well has helped us improve our communication. Yeah, because from her to her, through him, and every other person I've spoken today, you can see the level of emotional expression people tend to speak from their heart. But I think that is even much powerful than having to craft and do so much work about preparation when it comes to delivery. So I think, wow, I'm so happy and lucky to be among this group. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's my turn.
It's your turn.
Yeah. I just want to have a copy of whatever mess I make.
You right.
No choice.
Oh, you.
Good. Potatoes, eggs, or coffee bean. That's the title of my speech. Emerson said, that which lies before you, that which lies behind you, and that which lies before you are nothing compared to what lies within you. I'm going to share a story this evening of a particular girl, a wonderful girl. Her name is Chloe. Chloe had a beautiful life, a very, very wonderful life, but at the end everything came down crashing. There was war on her way, there were more mountains to climb, and everything that she tends to pursue seemed not to work. she was in dilemma. How come my adventure becomes a disaster? How come even my relationship is not even working? How come I am this now? I used to be so excited, but now I'm depressed. And she has a very good father. So in the weekend, on Saturday, Chloe decided to go home and say hi to daddy. So when she got there, her dad's the chef. So when she got there, after saying the normal pleasantries, she just poured everything on her daddy. How life is, how she is, how she's more difficult to pay her rent, how work is not good anymore, the work that used to be more enjoyable, and how everything in her life seems to be so catastrophic that when she's coming out of one catastrophe or one terrible adversity in her life, another one seems to be coming forth. She was in a dilemma and she poured everything on her dad. And her dad said, Chloe, you know I love you. If you don't mind, please come with me to the kitchen. So daddy took Chloe's hands and took her to the kitchen. And he said, don't say anything, just watch me. Chloe said, okay, daddy. And the chef, her dad, put 3 pots on the burner. Pot 1, pot 2, pot 3. He lit them and let them boil. While they were boiling, he took potato, he put in one, he took an egg, put in another one, and he took coffee beans and put in the 3rd one. And he said, Chloe, I want you to be patient for the next 20 minutes while this thing boils. Chloe sat there for about 5 minutes and she was obsessed with what daddy was doing. I came for an advice and now you are boiling stuff. How does this relate with me? What does this have to do with anything that concerns me? Daddy, I want your help. I need your advice. And the daddy said, patience, we've got 2 minutes more. After 20 minutes, the dad came back, he took the potato out and put it on a plate. He brought out the egg and put it on a plate. And as well, the coffee bean, he poured in a cup. And he said, Chloe, darling, please come and what do you see? He said, Daddy, I saw you putting potato, egg, and the coffee bean in the pot. So what do I see? It's the same thing you put in there that have come out of it. Daddy said, no. What did you see? Okay, just feel it. Okay, she felt the first one, which was a potato. She felt it. It was soft, real boiled. And the egg, what do you feel? He said, that is a cooked egg. He said, break it. She broke it. It has a white membrane inside. It was not hard-boiled egg. And the coffee, what do you think about the coffee? Take a sip. And she smiled. And her dad said, do you know why I'm doing all this? She said, Daddy, I don't understand. He said, you will very soon. He said, you see, when adversity strikes, when you go through terrible things in your life, what happens is, you all react in different ways to adversities. And the way you react determines who you are. This potato went in there strong-headed, bold. But when adversity came, how did the potato come out? Weak, soft. Not the same potato that was very good. The same 20 minutes amount of heat that heated them said touch the egg. What happened with the egg? The egg was covered in a very tiny membrane, a very tiny layer that covered the liquid inside. And now you break it. She broke it and the egg was hard boiled and it was strong. He said the same adversity that this strong guy faced, the same thing this fragile egg faced. And the fragile egg has come out stronger and better than the potato. And now, what about the coffee? He said the same thing that happened to the potato and the egg, and the coffee entirely changed the situation. Not what happened around it, but it was what happened within it. That she took the entire adversity and changed it to become a coffee bean. A coffee. A very beautiful cup of coffee. However, when things strikes you, as life will always do, terrible things will come your way and good things will come your way. This is why we are human. They say whatever does not kill you makes you strong. And it all depends on the kind of strong person you are. You might be so hard-hearted, you might be so wonderful out there, but when it strikes, it will strike. It might be striking right now, I don't know your story, or it will might strike later. But however, what are you going to be? A potato? An egg? Or a coffee bean? Just like Emerson said. What lies behind us, as well as what lies before us, are nothing compared to what lies within us. Thank you. I did it again.
Yes, I didn't know what you're talking about.
No, I did it's my timing.
Well, wasn't it great? Tony is right now in his advanced book, so
Yes,
he's in the storytelling book. And his story should have a purpose. And I think it came across great. You actually achieved it. You did show value in your story. And that's something that we were talking about yesterday. So I can think that you really took it in. You did provide us with something to think about, and we could go through it with the story. So it was very well illustrated, and you have this ability to take us with you and actually show us the story. And when I can actually see it, I'm a very visual person, it really, really sinks on me. So I think it was fantastic. Well done. Any feedback from anyone else? Yeah.
I love the way, Tony, you use the illustration of the three and how they change, but we had to wait to have that demonstrated to us, so we were kept in a little bit of suspense, so we were being Chloe, waiting to find out, you know. And then when you finally, and you thought, oh yes, okay, soft, and then hard, and you come to the coffee bean, and then there's a whole change of situation there. So it was very impactful and had meaning, and I love the way you delivered that.
Thank you.
Yes, I would replicate that too. I really liked, because I could see what I could almost anticipate what was going to happen initially, and then the coffee was like, and it changed. And you think, well, yes, of course it is. That's a great analogy. It was just a really illuminating thing to be able to make happen. And what was great again was how you have such a strength of space in how you own the space out there, and so how you do that. And so you're doing the potato, the egg, and the coffee, but then you do the stuff about backwards and forwards too, what's behind you and what's in front of you. So you kind of took us through all of those things. So that was it was illuminating and inspiring, and I think it was I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think it was great. I love the way that you use simple elements to share a message. So I was thinking also about your potato, the other one, I don't remember her name, the boiling potato. Yeah. So I thought, is this the same speech at the very beginning? But it was completely different. So I think you have that power to create simple examples, like something as an egg, boiling egg, and then the message comes, and I'm going to remember the message because the way that you tell the story, paint pictures in my head, so it's really nice. I think it's really, really nice the way that you tell the story without. I don't think you are trying to remember the story, you are just natural at telling stories, so that was great.
Someone else? Yes, please.
Yeah.
Brilliant analogy, well executed. You had me entranced all the way through that. The only suggestion I could make is when you come to the coffee bit, the transformation bit, you could actually engage the audience. You could ask, what do you think the message of the coffee is? Before you actually reveal the message. So that you get the audience thinking about sort of the actual message you're trying to get. So that will embed it more into the audience.
Okay.
But excellent, brilliant story.
Thank you. I was just looking at time when it comes to that because I had it in mind, but I didn't want to go over my 7 minutes.
I've just recalled something that I meant to say earlier, and it would perhaps be a recommendation is you didn't bring Chloe back. So Chloe didn't come back in at the end, so whether or not Chloe had a cup of coffee
Okay.
and took it on board may have been
Okay.
a nice end to it.
Okay.
Yes, please.
I'd love to say, Tony, I thought the simplicity and the way that you delivered the speech was just absolutely flawless. I thought even when you said things like about the potato becoming soft, you softened your voice. You kind of brought yourself in. You kind of said, it was really, I forgot the exact words, but it was really strong, and you say bold or whatever you said, and then it became soft, and you softened your voice. And little details, and you paused, like someone said that we kind of created the picture that you were kind of. It was like you were kind of literally kind of upholstering our world with images, and we were just sitting there kind of. We were listening to a speech, but I was watching a movie as well. I was watching a whole visual thing going on. I thought it was elegant. I thought it was eloquent, and it just seemed so natural. It didn't seem rehearsed in a good way. It didn't seem scripted. It just felt like you were talking the story, and using the word like daddy. Everyone can. Dad would have been different for me. It would have had a different meaning, but daddy really brought me in. Can I ask one question, and then if depending on the answer, make a suggestion or a recommendation. Towards the end, you had your hands like this. Did you crack a knuckle or click a knuckle or not? Am I making that up?
No, I didn't.
Okay, then I have no recommendation. if you had, I heard a click and I assumed it was from one of your fingers. And if you had, and this is really nitpicking, but only because you're such an accomplished and in my opinion, professional speaker, that would be my only recommendation was don't do that.
Okay.
Don't crack a finger, but you didn't, so that's fine. Brilliant, honestly.
Thank you very much.
To finish, in terms of improvements, I'm sorry if I bring something back, but that's how we know we are getting better. I remember one of the first speeches of you that I heard was about why you used to say, why only old men play golf? And then you started talking about the story of the years of the animals and the people when they're in front of God. It was the dog and the monkey and all, the donkey and all these animals. And I remember that at that time the transitions weren't strong. I think it wasn't a real connection. And the sentence structure wasn't that much there. But this was completely different. Like the transitions were really smoothly in the way you finished and you started. It didn't feel any moment disconnected. In any moment, it just felt natural and fluid. It felt very well prepared. But on top of that, it's like I don't know how to say it. It's like very fluid.
Thank you. You said it anyway. Thank you.
Wow. God, I mean, when Tony and I thought about this idea, we thought this is the sort of course that we would want to have gone on. And by God, I mean, I felt like I've been in, as I said earlier on, a TEDx conference. I mean, all the speeches we have learned something from. And all the speeches have actually been about self-development or that sort of theme. Absolutely astounding. Stella's very kindly going to put it up on YouTube, but given the sort of the content and things that we're going,